Hello, and welcome to Mythical Entertainment Fandom Spotlight. I'm your host, Mithrandiel. Today we'll be chatting with 25D or 25 Diorama, a very popular convention vendor that specializes in bead art of 8 and 16-bit video game characters. We'll be chatting with them about how they got started and what makes them so successful in the convention scene. All right. Again, thank you for joining us today. If you guys wouldn't mind just a brief introduction, letting us know who you are and what your role is with 225 Diorama.
Well, thanks for having us. My name's Cindy, and this is Chris over here.
Hey, this is Chris.
Awesome.
We act as artists, and we're the ones you usually meet when you go to the shows.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your operation, how long you guys have been doing this bead art, who started it, and why?
You want to take that? Or you want me to do it?
You take that.
Well, we've been doing this now for about 4 years. There's 4 of us involved. Our 2 friends who live in the Northwest are a huge part of this as well. In fact, they're the ones who really started it. But it just kind of started as a hobby after we were seeing some of these game sprites show up at shows. But we really wanted it, to be on the next level. And it was really just something that we were doing for gifts for each other and for friends. And they were the ones who really convinced us that we need to take it, out.
To the next level.
To the next level, right? Yeah.
And get it to all you people.
I think we're actually going on our 5th year.
Maybe 5 years. Who knows?
Yeah. And you guys hit conventions all up and down the West Coast, right? What was your first show? Like, where did you guys start out from?
It was at Portland Retro or Seattle Retro?
No, it was at Seattle Retro Gaming Expo.
Seattle Retro Gaming Expo. It's a little convention up in Seattle at the Washington Convention Center. Mm-hmm. And it's tiny, but the crowd is very focused on retro gaming. So made a big splash there.
Yeah. The product is very relevant to their interests.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's our niche market.
Yeah. I think that a lot of artists in various artist alley type venues, which is where you started out, and we were just mentioning before the interview, you've actually moved up to the exhibitors hall in some conventions. We'll get back to that in a minute. But just starting out in the artist alley venues, they can have some difficulty attracting or retaining enough customers to return to the same convention year after year, let alone being able to take their business on the road and go to other conventions and things like that. What has helped your operation be so successful, would you say?
For us, honestly, I think it's attention to detail. I personally feel that every single piece that we sell to people has to be good enough that I would want to hang it up on my own wall. And if it doesn't meet that standard, then I'll redo it or scrap it entirely and start from the beginning again. If anyone has any concerns or worries about any of the pieces, we try to be as quick as we can to answer those questions and help out as much as we can.
I think it's also a big part of it is I don't want to say it's a community because sometimes we don't speak to the same people again until the next show, but being good to your neighbors, having fun with it when you're there, it makes it a better environment and a better vibe. So next time you see more people, you're starting to see regulars again, and that makes it fun. And then you're starting to see the same people who are in the artist alley again. And that also makes it more fun. So that translates into when we're there, we're having fun, we're making the art, and we're thinking about the next time we're going to be there. And it gets exciting. So then we enjoy it. And I think that enjoyment passes on into the artist alley.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you were saying, when you start having those regular visitors, I would count myself among one of them. They kind of seek you out. I remember I was in Artist Alley at Fandom, and I was looking around, walked up and down the aisles, and I was trying to find your booth, and then I finally saw them, oh, they're here, and I was like, quick, take my money. So I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool when you can develop that fan base because they actively seek you out and they really are interested in spending money with you. So, is there a common misconception or an assumption about fan made art? Not necessarily just your specific niche of art with bead art, but
Yeah.
just generally speaking, fan art that you would like to address, something that you hear a lot, and you're like, you know what, that's just not true. Um, yeah, what would that be?
That it's easy to make, that it's easy to
Mm,
do, that anyone can do it.
mm,
And I totally support the idea that if you want to create something, you should. I mean, I think everyone has that creative streak in them, and you gotta feed it.
mhm,
But a lot of no, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are times you hear a comment like, "Oh, I could just do this at home," or "Oh, um, this isn't that hard to do."
right.
It is a commitment. It's this is what we do day in and day out, and honestly, more so than making an income from it, it's meeting people and the positive reactions we get that keeps us going.
Mhm. What do you think, Cindy? Would you agree with that? Is there anything else that you want to add to that?
I second that.
Yeah,
Okay. You're like what he said. Yeah. All right. Your work seems to be very popular at the convention scene. So in person, working with customers and things like that. And maybe I missed something, but just kind of a cursory glance, I don't really see any of your products online at all. Do you have any plans on taking it online, or is that like kind of like the next frontier?
So we are doing it. I mean, our the nature of our art is handmade,
Mhm,
and there's only a few of us. So
mhm,
we are really careful about making sure that the quality of our stuff is at the highest level it can be, which also
mhm,
means that we can't grow as fast. Um, we don't we're careful about how fast we grow. So we're trying to
okay.
meet our demand as well. Instead of, trying to get in so many orders that we can't handle it and then we have to cut corners, that would
Mhm.
just tank us. That would be the worst
Or
thing.
people waiting forever,
Well,
like
yeah,
months and months. Yeah.
it just wouldn't help anybody to do that.
Mhm,
But we do craft and ship. Um, People can send us a message and whatever they see in our Facebook albums and our timeline photos, especially the ones of our booths. We always post a booth picture because that lets people know what we're currently have in stock that we can just send out right away. But anything in the albums that we've ever made, we can craft it and ship it to people. So we just, do one-on-one like email messages and Facebook
mhm,
messages. That way it's a little bit more personal too. So we
mhm.
can, talk about what you really want and we can
Yeah.
make it for you.
Yeah. So it still has that custom feel to it instead of just putting up a website and like, okay, order like 10 of these, Mario dioramas or whatever. And then now you have this workload and you fall back on some of
yeah,
the more
Exactly.
customized pieces.
yep.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Can you see yourself sort of, I mean, what stars would have to align for you to begin thinking about expanding? I mean, would you hire a few more people to help with the beat art and then possibly go online, or do you think that this kind of custom handmade um, one-on-one case is sort of your model going forward in the foreseeable future?
Uh,
Yeah, I think it would require bringing on people onto our team.
Hmm.
Um, and just like a party, you want to be very careful about your invitation list.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, and
exactly.
we
Yeah.
haven't exactly ran into anyone who I think would want to take this on because it's actually a really huge commitment. I've quit my job just to do this.
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. All right. Um, so, of all the conventions and we talked about this a little bit before, of all the conventions that you've been to, which one is your favorite to attend slash work at, and why is that?
Oh man, I'd have to say Fanime has always been like a favorite of mine because we see so many people and we have since the beginning we've always had a great experience, like a memorable thing happen to us every Fanime. So for
Mm,
me, I'd have to say that, but I also really love the um, Big Wow Comic Con because
mm,
it's just a different crowd. Like it's a very chill and I don't know, it feels a little bit more homey.
uh-huh.
So you can spend more time talking to people. Fanime, it can there's a lot of people, so it has that excitement. So I'd have to pick
Right.
two. Those are my two.
Okay. All right. What about you, Chris?
Um, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but I like all the shows because when you spend a month and a half or 2 months kind of in the house working on artwork, I get so pumped to finally get out and go work a show that it could be San Jose, Portland, Seattle, any of the places that we usually visit. I'm just happy.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to meet people and get out of the house for a while.
You just want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Right. um, speaking of Fanime, so like as I was saying earlier, you have been promoted, so to speak, from the Artist Alley area to the Exhibitors Hall now in Fanime coming up. What what are the changes? How does that impact you in terms of cost? Is it going to provide you more of an opportunity? Like, what about that transition is exciting for you this year?
Um, the biggest thing about doing large shows like Fanime in San Jose or SakuraCon in Seattle is that when we made those transitions from the Artist Alley to the Exhibitor Hall, um, while it does cost quite a bit more to make that leap,
Mm,
um, there's actually a lot less stress because a lot of times Artist Alley fills up extremely quick. In SakuraCon, they actually fill up within like 15 to 20 seconds. So
wow.
it can be a lot of undue stress just to
Mm,
try and get a table. So when we have the commitment to do like an exhibitor hall table, um, there's higher traffic because sometimes people just they want to go to a specific, like shop, and those are always going to be in the exhibitor hall. So you have
mhm.
more traffic. You have a larger space to set up and bring more inventory, which is always great. And yeah, I think those are the big ones: more
Yeah,
space, more traffic, and less stress with having to actually worry if you're going to get the table or not.
register for a table.
And,
It,
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. So for some of these cons that you've been to for a few years, and obviously you've gained a fan base, and I think the convention itself knows, like, hey, when they're here, they generate a lot of revenue and a lot of interest and traffic.
Mhm.
Are there some conventions that basically say, hey, we've got a table for you ahead of time, or are most of them that kind of like mad dash, like you're talking about?
Um,
They
they
all the conventions try really hard to be fair to everybody.
Mm,
right.
mm,
So I haven't really seen too much favoritism,
mm,
but there are some conventions where we talk to people or talk to whoever's handling the hall like face to face.
right.
Those are a little bit easier. So anytime we send an email, questions get asked quicker. But in terms of registration and trying to get a table, everyone is what is it to eat to every man for himself.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Dog
yeah,
eat dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but I
think
mean, you just gotta pay. Make sure you answer emails on time, pay your dues on time. Send in your proper information that they need for legality purposes on
Mm,
time. Just being open and responsive.
yeah.
well, everything that Cindy said is true. I will say that there are people who do run the shows that do recognize us, and there have been shows that people they have been really getting on us to make that transition because they want us to have a bigger presence, and that's always humbling and exciting that we get recognized from not just our clientele but from the people who run the shows.
Yeah. Awesome. So, what advice would you give independent artists or vendors who want to grow their small business within the convention scene? I mean, right now, like I said earlier, they might only be going to one show a year or something like that
Right.
because they're trying to build their fan base and trying to build their reputation, etc. What advice would you give them?
Every year, add something new, even if it's something really small like a candy basket for Halloween or just something different every year. Like for us, we try to always have a new design, even if it's just one, a new
Mm,
design at every show. And take your time. Don't grow too fast because the cost for a booth, I mean, the nature of this is it is based on sales. There's no one writing you a check every 2 weeks. it's really exciting and fulfilling and difficult that way, but it's the con life, just
Yeah. Yeah.
embrace it.
Feast or famine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Chris?
For me, my biggest suggestion is just be committed to your craft, whatever it is. If you do jewelry, if you do art prints, or if you do beading like us, stay 100% committed to what you do. Do it the way you want to do it, and when you pour your heart and soul into the artwork that you create, people are going to know that, and they're going to appreciate it, and they're going to want to come back and visit. So as long as you can maintain that, you'll be okay.
Oh, and I'll add something to what Chris just said. Once you are cultivating a fan base, also maintain that support. Take the time to water those plants. Be good to your fan base. Be good to the family and friends around you that support you too. Because for us, we're so lucky to have a good team that we work with, and that keeps us going. It's fun to see each other and our family and friends who have helped us along the way. We can't thank them more. And in order to cultivate those relationships, you got to make sure that, you spend the time and thank them, and do whatever you can to help them along the way and have fun with us too.
Yeah. Make them cool, customized diorama. You'd be like, thanks so much. And you can hang this on your wall now.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, would you care to give us a rundown of some of the conventions that you'll be at? I know you guys have a Facebook page. I think that you kind of list those, but even just some of the major shows that you'll be at in the coming months, because it's con season. It's that time.
It is.
Yeah.
The weekend after next, we'll be in San Jose, California
for WazCon.
For WazCon, we'll make this happen. Hashtag WazCon. We're gonna make it happen.
WazCon. We should make that a thing.
Yeah.
The weekend directly following that will be in Seattle
for SakuraCon.
SakuraCon, which is another anime convention. It's awesome. And for the first time ever, we're really excited that we will be at Emerald City Comic Con on the first weekend in April, sharing a booth with a very good friend of ours who's an amazing artist as well, Pixelosis.
Her name's Sarah. She's Pixelosis. She does seed bead art, and it's usually like jewelry, earrings, necklaces, charms, and rings and things like that, but it's in the same style with like retro video game things on there. And we'll be sharing, we'll be in the exhibitor hall at Emerald City Comic Con with her, which is going to be so much fun.
And of course, Fanime.
Yes, Fanime. Yeah, I'm hoping I can make it up this time. I might not, because I'm my big con this year is going to be Anime Expo.
Oh yeah,
and so I asked you actually on your page, but are you guys going to try to get to Anime Expo? Have you tried to register for it?
We've been wanting to go down to Southern California, but logistically, it's not. It's the stars are not aligning for us because of since Fanime and Anime Expo are so close together. It's been difficult for us to make sure the dates and the amount of inventory we have match up.
Line up. Gotcha.
But we want to. All
right.
Hoping by next year. But if anything, stay tuned to our Facebook page. We have a couple new pieces that we're going to be showing in the next few weeks to celebrate this big con season that's coming up for us.
Awesome.
Can you guys see us?
Yeah. I can see you. Yeah.
Give them a peek.
He can see it.
Well, what you guys can do is you can just send me if you want to send me an image or two, because I'm going to put this together in an article and people are going to be listening to this. So if you guys want to send me a picture of it, I'd be happy to post it as a preview.
Okay.
If that's cool with you guys.
Yeah. And if I send that, when are you publishing this so that I know, like, I have a homework date?
I want to get it up this Friday.
Perfect.
So.
Wait, what else? What? Well, we're going to be at Portland Retro Gaming Expo for sure.
Well, we have
that's locked in.
These are the most recent shows, but we have a bunch of shows.
Yeah.
And again, people can find it on your Facebook page as well, which we'll make sure to link to. Anything else from you guys, or anything else you wanted to share?
Really, for anyone who has ever met us, thank you so much. We really appreciate. Even if you just come by and talk, it really keeps us going. And we hope you guys love our stuff as much as we love making it for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris and Cindy, for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you at the con scene.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.